Sarcastic, witty, and not afraid to mix it up. Pop open a cold one and welcome to 3 Dad Bods.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of 3 Dad Bods, a journey or story of 3 guys that have known each other our whole entire lives, pretty much, and who continue to keep in touch. And we just kind of thought that this would be kind of a cool thing to have 3 guys who kind of share experiences throughout life and what we've been doing and past experiences and what's going on currently in our lives. And if we get 1, maybe 2 or 3 listeners, that'd be cool. But we ain't going to push it at all. We're just going to have a good old time here with the 3 of us here. I'm Brent Whitely. I'm living in Nashville, Tennessee now. And we've got Karl.
I'm living in the wonderful, cold, frigid icebox called Utah.
And we got our good old buddy, Shawn.
Yeah, so I'm Shawn Smith, and I am living in the chilly Valley of Phoenix.
Has it been cold there?
Not really.
I saw.
You walk out your front door and pick an orange. Don't tell me it's cold.
Yeah, actually, what's funny is I did just that this morning. I went out and picked an orange and a grapefruit.
That is so cool, man.
Yeah.
You suck, though. I hate it.
I saw earlier this week in northern Utah, it was negative 68 degrees or something like that.
Yeah, probably wind chill, yeah.
Tell me about it, man. 15 degrees every morning the last 4 mornings. And I have to scrape my dang windshield. It sucks. Anyway.
You have complete control over that.
Well, not really. I still have a kid in high school. So, yeah.
Senior, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting close. Yeah. So
you have pretty much control over that.
Let's talk a little bit about how we all met first, and then how we got out to our various locations, and a little bit about our families, that kind of thing. Does that sound good?
Sure.
So
yeah, that works. So I've known Shawn my whole life. I can't remember a time without, and he's 3 months older than I am. So like, we're born in the same neighborhood, grew up in the same neighborhood. We had the same Sunday school classes together and primary and everything, growing up together. I've literally known Shawn my whole entire life. His dad married my wife and I, which is pretty funny.
Hold on a minute.
Cool.
My dad married your wife before you did?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. It's the Mormon way. It's the Mormon way. And so, and then Karl, I think, I honestly don't remember when you came in the picture. I know it was probably like we were maybe young teenage years or right before that.
I moved in 79.
5th grade, right? Was it?
Yeah,
5th?
Actually, it was 4th grade, but who's counting, right? Yeah. So, yeah, 79 is when we moved in on that. And I guess that church opened up that I lived across the street from in 1980, because it wasn't quite finished when we moved in. It was just, they were just finishing up. So,
do you remember building that thing? Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. Yeah,
we
they did.
Built the church.
Didn't they want people in the neighborhood to come help? I think they did.
We did.
Yeah,
we did.
when we were kids, you were responsible for your own church building if they gave an area the okay to have a church. So it's different, totally different now. So we had to have special meetings regarding how much each family would propose that they would donate, and asked people for their time and for their money to be able to build the church building. So yeah, I remember that. I remember go over and working on the sprinkler systems, and my dad doing some of the brickwork on that. So yeah.
Just for the audience sake, at that time, we were all members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So
the Mormons.
Well, the Mormons, yeah. So, we
just
have a lot of
agree
money in our
to
church,
call
but
it the Mormons?
the reason we have a lot of money in the church is because they make us build our own churches. I'm just kidding. And clean them. But it was right across the street from our house. It was all a new subdivision. I just moved in 79, and then the next thing I know, the church was done, and I met you goofballs. So that was
So let me ask you this.
yeah.
Do you guys remember sprinting across that open field to get over to, what is that, 5,200, and having the rock salt shot at us?
Yep.
Yeah, there's an old farmer that would shoot you. Yeah.
Yes.
Holy crap.
And the dumb thing about that is, it didn't scare us. It like challenged us.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
okay, who can run the fastest?
We weren't
we
weren't
always
the coddled generation, right? So yeah.
No. It was like, all right, bring it on, buddy.
Yeah.
We actually sat in the back of pickup trucks, remember? So anyway, that was a fun time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and then we had some epic battles, because the memories I have of you most, Karl, are playing basketball, either with or against each other. Because and that was one strong part of the neighborhood and the church, is like, for us, we had our athletics, we had our sports teams, and it's almost like being like a Utah fan or a BYU fan or like a 49ers fan or whatever. Like, that was us. That was our pride. That's our neighborhood. When we'd have these epic battles. And I remember being 12, our first experience as deacons in there, and kind of nervous. We're kind of scared, and we're playing with the older guys like Darren Forsberg and Darren Atkinson, and suddenly, like, we gained height.
Well, it was kind of funny, because when we moved in, we were obviously the outside family, and some of you guys thought we were actually rich, which we weren't. But
you guys are rich.
We were not. But
it's all very subjective, Karl.
It's very subjective, right? But at first, I was like any new person. It's hard to fit into the new neighborhood. All of a sudden, I go from this neighborhood I was used to, and it wasn't that far away. It was right by Kennedy Junior High, is where we lived before. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm in with these guys that have been together for, I think, you and Larry and Shawn and the Dimmicks, and you guys had all grown up together, right?
Oh yeah, born in the neighborhood.
We were all born in that neighborhood. Glenn,
you guys were.
We were all, except for Mark. I think Mark, you and Mark are the only.
Mark came in when we were 7. We were 7 years old when Mark came. So maybe 2 years before Karl.
A couple years later.
Yeah, you guys are pretty cool. I got to know you through church a little bit, and then, but yeah, Brent's right. It wasn't until the church sports brought us together, and he and I had this intense rivalry. He was a Laker fan, and I was a Celtic fan, because I like Danny Ainge, and he liked Magic Johnson, and then it turned into Larry Bird, because Larry Bird's, of course, a lot better than Danny Ainge. But
I can't deny that. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
Brent still likes Magic Johnsons.
I know he does. Yeah. Anyway, you know who was the best, though, and I don't care what young whippersnappers these days want to say, it is not LeBron James. It was Michael Jordan for sure. So
I don't think anybody questions that unless they're stupid. But
yeah,
you know who I thought you were. The young version of Kevin McHale when you were kids. Karl.
I kind of look.
I agree 100% with that, Shawn. I 100% with that. You were a lot like Kevin McHale. You were dirty. You were pure white. You were like them elbows, them tough grit. No, and I mean, it's a compliment, man, because Kevin McHale is one of the greatest of all time. He was hard nosed, didn't take any gruff. You never took any gruff at all.
No.
Well, I think part of it, the reason why you and I, you know how they say because I served at LDS Mission in Philadelphia, and you'd play on the playgrounds with these young guys that would have to play dirty. They grow up playing on the street. Well, they're like, well, these Utah kids, they're so soft. Well, back then, at least,
it's basketball.
It's basketball, right? And I remember having to play against 35-year-old stinky old fat guys that
Oh yeah.
Like you remember Peterson? He'd be a little smelly, but that dude could drain the threes. And then Dave
and when he boxed you out, boxed you out like you were gone a mile, and boom,
you hit a brick wall, right? So you learn how to survive among the timber when you're a little guy. Yeah, I remember.
And I don't care what any street playground says. There is nothing rougher than church basketball.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
there
remember
were battles, man.
This is after we grew up, but after I moved to Minnesota, we had a year canceled because the stake president got in a fight with one of the bishops, and one of them broke the other's nose.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it was good.
That must have made for an awkward ward council meeting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't involved in all that, but
So do you guys remember? All right, so you had stake ball, right? And then you had the playoff, and then the winner of that would go to region.
Yes.
And that was a larger area, much more intense. And then after that, you went to area, which was like all of Salt Lake, where like we were playing boys from like the east side, the big tall timber kids. But two memories that I have. First memory I have is not of us playing, but it's of like my brother and Kim Bigler and Lance Bigler, those older guys. And I think Dave Nadeau was coaching them. And they made it like all the way to the finals. And it was at I want to say it was at the YMCA somewhere in downtown. And the YMCA had this big gym and stuff. Like the whole ward came, everybody was out. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah. I remember. Karl dropped off. He's gonna have to come back in. But I do remember that, and I remember playing this ward. It was one of those things like, okay, we can't let these East Siders win.
Yeah. Karl, we're talking about when the older guys went to the finals in area, and it was at that YMCA, and like the whole ward came out, like literally the whole entire church came out. And,
I missed that one, but I remember going to area with you guys, but we were probably the only ones that actually followed the rules. I remember one year it was you, me, Glenn, Shawn, little
Ricky Kavenvold and Mikey Kavenvold.
Martin Barnes kid. I remember we went to area and I was really sick. And so we played this holiday team, right? And we lost, but later, about a year later, I went to Skyline. And so that one of those kids was in my class in some geography class. Anyway, I was talking to him and he said, "Oh yeah, you guys didn't like take your stake all-star team?" And I'm like, "What do you mean stake all-star team?" And he's like,
"We did though. That was
no."
Us.
Well, no. Well, we would have taken Brent Lamb and we could have put together a team that probably would have gone all the way to the finals if we would have taken actually the best guys all out there in the West Side.
So in other words, you would have dropped me and Craig Barnes.
Way to go, Karl. Way to go, Karl. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, all right. So the thing I remember about that game, first of all, we didn't lose by that much.
We only lost by. Second. I had the flu anyway that night.
Yeah, you were sick. Okay, you were sick.
That was your Michael Jordan game before Jordan had it.
Hold on though.
Oh yeah,
I had the chicken pox that week. That was the week I got the chicken pox, and I was in bed the whole entire week.
That's right. We were all scared we wouldn't even be able to play. Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd been out of bed, played our asses off, and I remember throwing up in the garbage can afterwards.
Oh yeah, I was so sad. Well, it was fun. That was the year that we beat the 10th ward by 1 point in the final shot. I remember I got one of those games where I hit it, and then the other one was that regional championship. That was freaking awesome. We had some Donnybrook games with those boys.
We did. We met all the time in the finals. We met in finals in state. We met in finals in region every single time.
That's why we hated Gomez and Livingston and the Burts so much. If they're listening, sorry, boys, but it was a fun rivalry. Those are some good games.
The only thing I remember about those is getting my butt kicked.
I remember we had the enforcer. Remember, we had the Rambus of the stake, Glenn Ralph. Anybody goes into the middle, they would get hammered.
Yeah. And then we had Mikey Kavenvold that could dribble the ball like crazy. That would just spin around in circles and figure eights and everything like that.
He's a manager of a Walmart out here in Cedar Hills, out here where I live in Utah. I don't know if you guys knew that. So
Mikey or Ricky?
Is?
Mikey. Yeah, Mikey, not Ricky. Yeah.
Because Ricky was like a butcher shop or something, wasn't he?
No, he does tile work like floors and hardwood floors, tiles, that kind of stuff.
Well, was Brian Burton on the team then? Our
team? He was on a couple teams.
Yeah, okay. And then it was Scott
Curtis.
And then Curtis. Oh, yeah. Curtis was a baller. Curtis, he looked like Danny DeVito, but the dude could pop a three, man, and he dirty.
Still looks like Danny DeVito.
Yeah, he's really heads up player too. So yeah, he's a baller.
I think.
And speaking of Curtis, go ahead.
I would just say I think the thing that set us apart from the other kids that were playing at the time is that we weren't afraid to do a Kurt Rambus. We weren't afraid to go into the middle and get bloodied.
Yeah, no.
I seriously, I mean, I think some of the other wards were scared of us because we behaved that way. We didn't take anybody's crap. We played kind of rough.
Yeah, even Craig Barnes, man, little glasses. Well, he looked like he's 4'8", and that dude that dude's an athlete, man. Have you seen him
straight up?
Yeah. I wouldn't want to meet him in a back alley either. That dude could probably tear you apart.
That bicycles like miles and miles. Like he's in these triathlons all the time, from what I understand.
He's amazing.
He's a cool guy. So anyway,
I'll tell you one cool thing about a neighborhood, especially with sports, was in the Utah culture, it's commonplace where, like, if you're not a Mormon, you kind of like an outcast, really.
True.
But our neighborhood really was different because we embraced Curtis. I've known my whole life, and he was always at our stuff. He participated in our athletics. The Kavenvolds always were around and always in our life. You had like the Eddie Brandon and the Karl Arnolds and those people that in most neighborhoods we probably would not have known.
So there's more than just basketball in the neighborhood as far as talent. So, but like our favorite Mark, he was a great drummer, musician, pianist. I remember, it's funny, you guys all remember Rita, because we all didn't we all go to school together too? Isn't the three of us plus? Oh gosh, I have some funny stories.
All right. So Shawn, hold on, wait. So Shawn, I've got to tell you that I made amends. All right. So last January, I went back. We actually popped in and saw Rita, who looks exactly the same. Same awesome spirit, same her, how her smile and her voice would just lift everything up. Just such a wonderful person, an incredible woman. Absolutely.
Are you saying all this because you're still scared of her?
Absolutely.
Kick your ass, John.
So all right. So Karl,
there's no.
So check this out. Yeah. So check this out. So one day, Shawn's got to go home. He's walking home. And he walks
always
past
had to
Rita.
go home before everybody else.
Your parents are strict.
So Shawn's going home and he's walking by Rita. Rita's outside, and I huck a peach and I nail Rita right in the head.
Oh no!
And she sees Shawn and scolds him like you would not believe. Oh my God! I'm hiding. I'm laughing, and he's getting his bell rung by Rita because she thinks he threw the peach. So I'm here to tell you, Shawn.
You finally caught to
last
it.
January, when I talked to her, I cleared the air of that 40-year-old.
You admitted it? Oh,
I did. I said, Rita, I'm going to tell you something.
Did she kick
one
your
day?
ass?
Shawn, she laughed. She said, "Oh my goodness!"
I can hear it.
My gosh! I could believe that you could hear her across the neighborhood because she and my mom would sing in the choir together. You remember that? So Rita,
amazing voices.
Rita. Well, Rita's voice. She was a very talented woman. So that's where Mark got. I think Mark got a lot of his talent and music from her, but his dad was completely the opposite. Was Jay an athlete at one time? I mean,
no, but military man.
But
military man.
Okay.
I just can't. I can't see it. I mean,
Jay also was good in music. Okay, and before his stroke,
very musical.
He was. Extremely. Yeah, and so and I think most of us kind of remember him after his stroke. He had that strong stroke, and it kind of really changed who he was mentally, which often the stroke does. We were in middle school.
He was a really nice guy too. Wasn't he one of our teachers in church?
Yeah.
So when we were terrible.
We were in middle school, Shawn, when that happened.
Yeah, we were rotten to the core when it came to church attendance and being quiet.
Well, he
had a massive stroke.
He did. He came up to me one Sunday after church and told me how much he appreciated my reverence in blessing the sacrament because you guys. Because we were all laughing all the time. Joking.
Apparently, I
was the best at controlling my laughter during that.
You could fake it the best, is what you're saying, Shawn.
That's what I'm saying.
Probably, right?
I'm not saying I didn't. I'm just saying.
All right,
but
I hold the distinct. I hold the distinct. Pleasure? Maybe not pleasure, but.
Wait, what?
So I actually said the word shit. No, not that part. I actually said shit on accident in front of the microphone because as I was passing the sacrament on top of with the bishop and everybody else up there on the stand, I tripped on that little stand in front of the microphone and went, "Oh shit!" in front of the mic.
Well, what's nice about our ward, I don't. It was more of a blue collar ward, I think, in some ways. I don't think it would have been
except for your family.
Not bad. Yeah. So.
Do you remember Mike Van Rosendahl would fall asleep on the organ? It'd be all silent. Also, you hear.
That dude was a classic pianist, man. That guy had
amazing.
Talent.
Amazing.
It's incredible how much talent was in our ward, man. Just for our little neighborhood.
There was a lot of talent, and there were quite a few numbskulls.
In a normal neighborhood, we may not have really known each other. Or we would have known each other, but we wouldn't have been close. Yeah. I consider you guys my brothers.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time. The sports. Who has a freaking Paul's Par 3 in their neighborhood? Right. Yeah.
You also got to remember, though, how close our parents were, too.
That's true.
Like Shawn's dad and my dad played golf for years. Like every day they would play golf.
Your dad was so cool, Brent. Your dad too was a good guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Loved your dad. Your dad was a good man.
Nice guy. Just a nice guy. Your mom was funny. I love your mom, Brent.
God bless Bob Whitley.
Every day we'd come to get a ride from Brent's mom, and she'd be having Brent tied down to the breakfast table, reading a Book of Mormon at him, and I was just,
oh man, she tried. Bless her heart, she tried.
Bless her heart. I felt so sorry for him.
He really tried. Just wasn't me, unfortunately.
Yeah, my mom was always, "What's up with that Brent Whitley? His mom is so righteous." And I'm like, I don't know, Mom.
but back to what you're saying, and like with the neighborhood and stuff. that's how we like. I remember typical day growing up, summertime, throw on a pair of shorts, put on them high tops with no socks and no laces, no shirt, go outside, wouldn't even knock, walk into Mark's house, grab him. We'd go down. Like we never knocked in people's house. We did at your house, I will say, Karl. We did that, but like I don't ever remember knocking on Shawn's door. Like it's back door. We'd always come into the back door all the time.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it was. Is like we just family. We looked out for each other. We stuck up for each other. We hung out with each other. That neighborhood area, the Tanner's Corner that we always call it.
Yeah. Well, the corner. What other neighborhood can anybody say had a place that was simply called the corner?
Yeah,
true. That's true.
It was a gathering place for 50 different kids.
I think it was last time. I can't remember when I drove back, but I parked the car right in front of my old house, which looks completely different. But I just got out and just walked. Like I just walked down the street, and it looks so different, and it feels so different. But at the same time, like I like closed my eyes when I stood in front of Mark's house and got kind of teary-eyed there and stuff, and just thinking about sitting on that on that doorstep right there all the time. And then I went on over, and the tree's gone. The tree on the corner is gone. But I just stood there on the grass and just kind of.
Well, who's the last one that was in the neighborhood? Because I was at Glenn's dad's funeral just recently.
Lorraine Newsom still lives there.
Yeah. Oh, Lorraine does? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, she lives in Mary Annie's old house.
Yeah, she lives next door to her parents.
Okay.
No, not next door. One house between.
One door down. Yeah, there's one door down.
Yeah, because the Dimmick's old house is in between.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the Burrows at the funeral. I know they moved out of there, right? And
they moved
long time ago.
When we were kids.
Yeah, they were neighbors of Glenn's.
But Vance was there. Susan Vance just passed away, and she was living in that house when she passed away.
Oh, I didn't know that she had passed away.
She passed away this year, I believe it was.
Oh, okay.
So did the Bachelors move out of the area too? The Bachelors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, they did, and Kathy
Matt's mom passed away 3 years ago or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't really see too many families there other than Walquist. He was by himself, and then the Petersons. They bought my house, my parents' house, and then.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. They've been there ever since.
What about the Wildings?
They're gone.
Wildings don't live there anymore.
I think they got to the east side finally. So yeah, they were always looking to move out there because I think they were both like he went to east and she was, or maybe he went to west and she went to east. He was like the west side guy, but
no, I don't think so. I think they were both from the.
I think they were both west side too. I thought
they both hated it.
Well, I was gonna say, wasn't there
neighborhood?
Well, Madison, wasn't he? He's a big U, and I know he didn't play for the rugby team. Wasn't he a pretty solid kid?
I don't know.
Okay,
he looks just like his dad. Solid kid.
Yeah,
solid
he does,
guy.
doesn't he?
Oh yeah. Solid guy. I like him.
So
he's a good guy.
So who in the neighborhood left can you say was maybe the best influence on you?
Oh, like what do you mean?
This would have to be an older not somebody that was like you can't say a kid. It's an older person.
Ooh,
that's a good one.
So it can't be Davy Gunn.
I'll tell you.
Would say that. But.
I'll tell you mine. Kim Bigler.
Yeah. And Paul Bigler.
He was my coach. Several different basketball years and volleyball years, and then, but he was also our scout leader. Remember?
He was like the varsity scout leader, the older boys.
He was a church advisor to us too, and I remember
Kim Bigler.
Yeah, after my mission, this is a funny story. So even after my mission, he still wasn't married yet. and he did finally get married to someone our age, I think. But
He married Brooke Rowley's cousin or something like that.
Yeah, she went to high school with you guys, I think. Anyway, I remember going to a singles young adult dance, and he would still go to those. And we were riding home, and we almost got in a fight with someone off in 215. And Kim was trying to calm me down, and still being a good example. So Kim was a good example.
That's good. That's a good one, Karl. What do you got, Shawn?
I would have to. I don't think I can just say one. I'm gonna have to give two names. One of them is also Kim Bigler.
Yeah.
But then the other would be Richard Morrill.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Richard's a good guy. Yeah.
We spent a lot of time with him as our scout leader. And he took 6-7 dozen boys up into the Uintas backpacking, and
the amount of Eagle Scouts that are under his belt is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And this is back when scouting in our ward was a big deal. It was a privilege to be part of it. That's a very, very good one.
Now you got a sore subject. I was the rebel.
I never got my Eagle. I was within, when I was 15, I was within a merit badge and my Eagle project of having my Eagle, and I said, screw it, I don't really care about this. So it was one of those things where people would say, well, if you're gonna have a flat tire and you need help, and someone sees that you have a golden Eagle or an Eagle Scout card, they'll trust you. And I thought, that's a bunch of bullshit.
I thought the whole thing was kind of bullshit.
Larry Gunn and I got our Eagle Scouts on the same day together.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
I actually got a picture of it where he looks like he's half my size.
Yeah,
wait, that picture was floating around.
Yeah.
Richard
Morrill posted it, and I got my Eagle at the youngest time that you could get your Eagle. I got pushed
it on
into
your
the heart.
14th birthday.
That's right. That was
so I got done quick.
Yeah. Why did that rub off on you, Brent? I
know, right? I know.
You got it too early.
it was, and then I just quit after that. I got my card, and I will say that saying that I've been an Eagle Scout in life has actually, it's not opened doors, but it has. I bring it up in job interviews and stuff like that, and we talk about it at times. So I will say that it's had some benefits to it, and the life lessons learned. Now, I was saddened to see how scouting fell apart. Yeah, and scouting today and stuff. It isn't what it was. We raised boys to be men back when we were scouts.
We weren't having problems with kids getting molested in scouts, and I don't know if was just one of those things that it was still happening then and it was just swept under the rug or kept silent, or if it became something. I don't know.
Well, I don't want to.
Before we get off on the tangent with that, Brent, what
mine?
Who was yours?
Yeah, who's yours?
You guys good ones. I could not say Kim. I could not say Richard. If I had to pick someone besides those two, I think it would be Kim's brother Lance. Where he was young enough to be kind of like us, but he was older. He was like, y'all ever see the movie Dazed and Confused with Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah.
He was he was Matthew McConaughey, the all right.
He was that guy.
The coolest car. Yes.
The best car. Oh my god.
He was a great athlete, but he kept us together as a group. He taught us a lot. He was competitive. He helped fuel my competitive drive. And along with Kim and Lance, you can't mention those two without mentioning Paul and Shirley.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they were good people.
The amount of service that Paul and Shirley gave in the neighborhood. I don't know of a sweeter woman that ever walked the earth than Shirley Bigler.
Well, I do have one honorable mention that helped all three of us. Gary Evans. I remember having a number of I
feel terrible for not saying Gary.
No, you don't have to feel terrible.
Gary and I were pretty close, actually, and
But I think the point is we could continue to make names.
Yeah,
and we would all be like, people. Oh yeah, him. Rita Atkinson.
Yeah, Jay Atkinson. Yeah.
The list is. But notice none of us mentioned any of the bishops.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Some people, there were a couple people who talked to me about my dad being one, and I always thought my dad was kind of the rebel in the ward because he was the guy that would.
He was always playing devil's advocate on everything.
Yeah.
What
I admired about your dad is your dad didn't want to fall into the mainstream. Your dad always had a point that he was not afraid to share, and in a Mormon church, that's a very rare thing.
Yeah. He was a teacher in that. I don't know why they made him a teacher in that group, but he was one of, I
would love to talk to your dad, Karl.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I'll miss him someday when his time comes. But
one of these days, Karl,
yeah,
I will say your dad had a positive influence on me, and I consider him to this point in my life a person who influenced me for the positive, and I'm grateful for having known him. So
I appreciate that.
I know your dad and I had some business dealings and stuff together, and we would talk in depth of some stuff and about the neighborhood. I remember some good conversations that we've had as an adult. That we had, because we had those flashlights and stuff we were selling together and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah,
we did that.
I just really wish his posterity could have matched up to him.
Thanks, God. I appreciate that. That's okay. I still love you too. You do look a lot like your mom. Did I mention that yet in this podcast? No.
Hey, I think my mom's a pretty.
She's a beautiful lady. Yeah.
My mom was underappreciated.
I was talking about your hair, Shawn, not anything else. I got
yeah, I've got the same color gray hair that she, but I still have hair.
There you go. Now let me ask you a question, Shawn. Out of the three guys, who looks more like your dad? Kyle or your younger brother? What's his name? Kyle, right?
Yeah.
Or Alan or yourself.
No, Kyle.
Shawn looks exactly like his dad.
Just knock it off.
You look exactly like your dad. I tell you that all the time. I say, hey, Dale.
Yeah,
you look like your mom, Brett. You got the same frizzy hair as she does, so you guys look together in those pictures. I like it.
Thin frizzy hair, bud.
I always thought that you were half black when we were kids because of your hair.
Well, you see me in the locker room too, so that kind
of. I always say that I am too from the waist down.
Your knees.
You both are, dreaming of fantasies now. No question, Brett. On your mom, I'm always curious. So, is she where is she from originally, Mediterranean wise, or
what's her genealogy?
Yeah, what's her genealogy?
All right. So a while back we had we did the ancestry.com deal, right? Okay. The little swab and all that. So I do the swab, put it in my mouth, send it off. They send it back to me. There was a white cracker that came back.
Wait, hold on a minute.
What?
I'm as white can be, man.
Wait. You're supposed to put that swab in your mouth?
Yes, yeah. That's why yours came back in different areas, Shawn. So
it's why you're from the North Pole.
So we are. My mom was she's Australian.
Oh.
My mom's family
Aborigine
is no, not at all. Pure white English prisoners. We're straight up from England. My thing came back 98% England, 2% Scottish. It was as white as white could be.
Heavy Brit.
And so my mom, interesting
part of the
fact
Australian
here.
criminal colony, huh?
So my grandma was the first one of her family born in the United States.
That's interesting.
Yeah. On my dad's side, we've been here since like the 1700s. In fact, like Whitley Peanuts in Virginia, they settled in Virginia and all that. Part of that family, all that stuff, but originally came from England. There's a Whitley Castle in England. So yeah, there's a white cracker that came in my little envelope.
Wow. That's interesting.
Good talking to you, man.
Good
And everybody, we will do this next Saturday. We'll do this. We'll try and do this Saturday at the same time. We'll get this uploaded. Guys, I'll create a little Facebook page with a link on it. If you can send that over to me, Shawn. And blast people. And if we get a listener here or there, cool. If not, it's great talking to you guys each week, man.
Yeah, that was fun, guys. We'll talk again next time. So anyway, it was fun. Thanks, Brent.
See you, brother.
Take care, guys.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks for listening to 3 Dad Bods, and make sure to catch their past episodes on Spotify, Apple, and Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure and leave a comment to help stroke their fragile egos.